Buddy, this is Jason Heires, and this is another version of Essential Albums. Now, part of this, the whole point of Essential Albums, and the reason why I've been doing this, is a way to point out, music that I find interesting or influential, and to kind of point you guys in some different directions so you can have some things to look at. However, that being said, I am not opposed to looking at things that other people want me to look at. And so this is a special request that I went ahead and take a couple of listens to this album, and I'm doing a review on it. And this is the album I'm doing this for. It's the Wallflowers, and it's called Bringing Down the Horse. And there's the album cover. Now, yes, I did say Bringing Down the Horse and not the house, which is what I first thought it was when I first saw it, because, my favorite story for this, and we're getting off track real quick, is Pink Floyd's Metal. At first, when I heard the title, I thought it was metal, like Medal, and then later I thought it was metal, like Metal, and then later I found out it was actually metal, like Meddle, metal in someone's affairs. So this one, Bringing Down the Horse, is not quite as confusing as Pink Floyd's Metal was, but it still kind of fits into that same category, and I kind of like that story. Now here's the truth, okay? It's got to be pretty tough to be the son of one of the most iconic figures in the music industry and try to make music. And, of course, I'm talking about Bob Dylan. Now, Bob Dylan is probably the most iconic person in the music industry. I mean, he's still doing things now, and he's still making an impact on people, even in 2020. And he's been doing it since, 1964. So that gives you a good idea. That's a really tough legacy to try to live up to. Now, the Wallflowers is fronted by Bob Dylan's son, Jakob. And Jakob is a talented songwriter in his own right, and it's easy to kind of dismiss him because of the fact that, well, yeah, he's Jakob Dylan, but he's no Bob Dylan. Yeah, but, who is a Bob Dylan? That's the question. And the answer is not too many people. There really is only one Bob Dylan, and that's Bob Dylan. And Bringing Down the Horse is it's a good album. It's a solid album. It's not like a spectacular, blow your mind great album, but I enjoyed it. And basically, this is the second album for the Wallflowers, and it's probably the one that had the most commercial success, just because there's 3 songs on it that I can recognize as radio hits. The first song is One Headlight. Next is 6th Avenue Heartbreak. And then last but not least is 3 Marlenas. Now, the song that probably resonates the best for me on the album is One Headlight. I like the simple pulsing bass line that propels the song. 6th Avenue Heartbreak has some nice pedal steel guitar work. And then also, I kind of like the difference where they really try to kick it up a little bit more and make the song a little bit more rock and roll and punchy. Now, me, overall, I'd like my rock and roll to be a little bit more overall and punchy, which is something this album is a little bit more, relaxed or emotionally neutral. It's a good album. It's got well-written songs. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very accessible. It doesn't really push a lot of musical boundary, but it does achieve what it wants. It's solid songs, and it does have an everyman appeal. So, it's a good, solid album. It was recorded in '96. One thing that I found interesting about it when I was looking through everything on the album is that it was recorded by T-Bone Burnett. Now, T-Bone Burnett is a producer. Now, this predates before T-Bone Burnett kind of became a much bigger deal. T-Bone Burnett had kind of a breakout when he was responsible for creating the soundtrack for the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou movie. And T-Bone Burnett became strongly associated with kind of the a movement to kind of move back to more of an old time feel in rock music or folk music. And basically, in a lot of ways, if you see that an album is produced by T-Bone Burnett, that's usually a pretty good indication that there's a level of quality. And there's definitely kind of a T-Bone Burnett signature in the production as well. And you can definitely hear that here. The T-Bone Burnett production is very solid, and he brings in that kind of that sensible Americana element to it. You know, the pedal steel guitars and some of the other things like that. So the T-Bone Burnett production is kind of like the secret weapon of this particular album. So, you know, you got a good songwriter writing decent songs. You got a good recorded album, you know. And, you know, I mean, for me, I would maybe like a little bit more musical intensity and maybe a little bit more emotional intensity. But I'm not going to knock this album. I mean, it is what it is. It's a good, solid album. I don't know if I would have picked it to review, but I don't regret listening to it, and I don't regret doing a review for it. It's always good to discover new things, and Essential Albums isn't just about what are my essential albums. Essential albums are what we think of collectively as an essential album. And the thing about it is that I am willing to tell you what I think about things as a nominal musical expert because I've been listening and reading about music and playing instruments and all that kind of stuff for a very long time. So I'm not like the world's greatest musical expert at all, but I think I have a pretty good gift for explaining things to people that aren't necessarily the super experts and just kind of give them an idea of what they're listening to and why it has value. So this album, you know, it has value because it just is, you know, it does what it has a very strong idea about what it wants to achieve, and it does it. It creates good, simple, straightforward songs that, you know, have an impact, and they, you know, they are definitely set to reach a certain kind of emotional and impact place, you know, and you know, it may not necessarily be what I would consider the ideal album, but it's not that bad either, and it's worth paying attention to. So give it a listen. You might like it better than me. Thanks for watching these, and once again, my name is Jason Heires, and you guys have a great day. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you. Bye.